It was the 29th of August 2015 when I gave up alcohol temporarily after drinking a bottle of wine a night for many, many years. I would have about anything between 5 and 6 bottles a week by myself. Normally a beautiful red wine, or in summer it would be beautiful New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc or some South African wines. But that happened at an event, a business seminar called First Steps to Success with my coach and mentor Danny Johnson, which is one of the reasons that we have our 21st event coming up in San Diego later on, next weekend in August, because my life just keeps on transforming and just keeps on being renewed, thanks to my God and thanks to my coach. But the point is this: I used to drink a bottle of wine a night, easy. I was at 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock kind of girl. You don't come in between me and my glass of wine at 6 p.m. My husband would come down from work and out of his office, and it would be his time with the kids, 6 to 6:45, bathing, playing, whatever. And that was my kind of time to get dinner going, and that was my wine time. And God had convicted me of that for many, many years. I had conversations with him, but I had been stiff-necked for a long time. But here's the thing. I tried to manage it myself for many years. I really tried to say, okay, it's going to be Wednesdays and weekends, or it's going to be just 2 classes, or it's going to be no more than 3, and nothing really worked until I really, really, really surrendered that night at something called a spiritual equipping at First Steps to Success in August, on the 29th of August 2015, somewhere in the USA. I can't remember where we were, but it was at that powerful event where the Bible came alive for me, and I realized actually how much power was in my hands to do this thing with my God. And so I gave it to him, and I asked him, please take away the taste, change my palate so that I can do this with you. I want to co-labor with you. Praying is not enough. I have a little chuckle when people go like, I prayed for this, and I go like, what have you done? How have you co-labored with God? Well, no, I just prayed. Like, no, he says co-labor with me. He wants to partner with us. He wants to work with us. He wants us to bring him into our lives and have him involved in everything that we do. Anyway, so it was, August 2015. And I tell you what, I went from a 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock kind of girl, having every kind of beautiful red wine and white Sauvignon Blancs. Villa Maria from New Zealand is the best white wine, and love my rosé, love champagne. And I tell you, I asked him to change my palate, and the day that it happened, that night that I surrendered to him fully, with full trust and full faith, my palate changed, boy. I couldn't look at a bottle of wine, and I got this watery kind of, just looked like vinegar. For 8 months, I could not tolerate the look of the sight or the smell. The smell just made me want to gag. So he literally changed my palate, and I didn't even have to work a thing. It was so easy breezy. I was just blown away by how easy he made it for me. And it turns out on our most amazing, powerful trip, we had a trip to Israel with some incredible people in September 2015. So that was our very first month without wine, and here we are in blessed Israel with blessed wine and blessed bread, and everything was so blessed. And I just stood there. It was weird for me not to be drinking. I'm like the party girl. I was, like, I've had some kind of coyote ugly on the bar kind of little parties in the past, used to work hard and play hard and all those things. So I found myself in Israel, I found myself at weddings, I found myself at parties, I found myself everywhere just thinking, thank you God, I don't even want it. Anyway, the point here is, I knew it wouldn't be forever. And this is going to potentially sound controversial to you, and that's okay. This is what it meant for me, and this is what I discovered with my God. This may not be true for you, but I just didn't believe for me that I should say, my name is Linda and I'm an alcoholic, because I have been taught about the power of words. I am not speaking about you and potentially your journey out of alcohol. And if you go to the AA meetings, that's awesome. If you have found something that works for you, that's fantastic. What I have found works for me is I found that my conversations with God were, I'm not an alcoholic. I had my first drink when I was 3 years old. I had awesome parents, fantastic, beautiful parents, Don and Sue, who also were not trained and equipped with the right tools to, with the skills of what to avoid at the age of 3 and 5 and 12 and 16 and so on. So I was born to ill-equipped but beautiful people who loved us. But we were exposed to wine and alcohol and all kinds of things from a very, very young age. And I took my first sip of alcohol at the age of 3. And anyway, so I've been ducking vodka bottles and all kinds of things my whole life, and ducking the truth as well, and ducking questions about what I should and should not be doing. Anyway, 3 years ago, I got with my coach, Danny, and so much has changed. The point being here, that I asked my God, I said to him, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't receive that. That is not from you. I don't take on anything from my parents' past or their parents or their parents or their parents. I take on no excuse of DNA or I'm not more susceptible to something. I'm not accepting that. I'm a whole new creation in you. And so I said, with that in mind, I will give you this, and you tell me when you tell me when I'm ready again. So I thought it would be longer. It was 8 months. I thought it would be longer than that. On the 30th of, I think it was April, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Yes, it was the 30th of April, 2016. I had my first glass of wine, and it turned out to be 2 glasses of wine at a very important get-together that I was having with my dad at his home, at a restaurant and a pub near his home, and it was the most peaceful, amazing, beautiful time with him. Lots of important things going on in that conversation. But there was no fear. There was no, I didn't have an unrest of like, is this it now? Because I was thinking it was going to come back later. And I tell you what, those 2 glasses of wine were divine. They were just so, that was it. And after 2, I'm like, I'm done. And we went back and we had dinner at his house and I had some sparkling water. And anyway, since then, my point is this. My point is, what do you believe when you ask God for something? How deep is your faith actually? Because I found that mine had to be fully, fully surrendered to say to him, I'm giving you this thing and I'm not an alcoholic. And please, will you give it back to me when you know that I have co-labored with you and that my hand is still in your hand and that I get this back in my life? Because I love wine. I'm from South Africa, where some of the most beautiful wine in the world comes from. I love food. I love wine. I love socializing. And so I asked him for that. I said, I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to trust you for this. And the short version, friends, is it was 8 months. And I actually learned something very interesting about the number 8 spiritually from my very good friend and mentor in marriage, Rabbi Natan Alexander in Israel. And the Jews believe that the number 8 is actually very supernatural. That's why babies who are 7 years old get circumcised when they are on the 8th day in the world, because they go from natural at 7 to supernatural in 8. Anyway, so it was 8 months. Me and my God worked on it. I am free 100% of the slavery that I used to have to alcohol in the name of Yeshua. That is what happened to me. But I've been reflecting on this for a while, thinking, I don't think that there's anything in my life that I've had that much faith for. I really don't think that there's anything in my life that I've trusted God more for than freeing me from the slavery I used to have to alcohol. My dependency on alcohol to, as a little bit of an escape and to take the edge off and to, a bottle a night. I mean, hello, it shows up on your skin. It shows up under your eyes. It shows up everywhere. But I really reflected on this and I trusted him so fully, like I've never trusted him for anything before. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I know you're going to have different views, and that's okay, because thank our God, we are different, that you are not like me, and I'm not like you. Thankfully that we have our own journeys, our own ways, our own solutions, our own outcomes, and our own paths, and our own awesome relationships with our Father in heaven. But I want to encourage you and say this. What is it that you're praying for? What is it that you're looking for release from? What is it that you're looking for breakthrough on? And how, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 100%, how deep is your faith? How much do you trust him for that? Because I've had a couple of amazing friends who I know love me, who found out a couple of months ago that I'm drinking alcohol again. And I can tell you what, I get to 3 glasses, I'm like, I'm done. That was beautiful red wine, especially on Shabbat night. The 4th commandment says we are to take a rest day. Friday night is our Shabbat that we learned also from Danny, and whole Saturday is rest day. And I've also learned, I'm baking, I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm baking this beautiful challah bread. Okay, a couple of them, smoke and burn, and that's okay. Most of them turn out well, but I'm loving the blessing. God has returned to me the blessing of enjoying what he gave to us as a gift, not to be overused or abused or misused. So he returned that to me. And all I want to say to you is, what are you asking him for? What are you trusting him for? And how deep is your faith? Because if it's deep and if it's pure and if it runs deep, he will deliver you from that thing. He really will deliver you from that thing. Make sure you are surrounded by people who say, this is possible. Anything is possible with our God. Look at what it says in his word. Trust him for that. And don't be influenced by people around you who say, actually, you're an alcoholic, and I have some amazing friends who love me and found out that I was drinking again and said, Linda, I think we need to talk, and I have to hold you accountable, and you can't go from that to this. No, actually, thank you for your love. I know your intention. I know your heart. I can, because with my God, anything is possible. So friend, whatever you're trusting him for, trust him fully, and you'll be shocked at what he brings into your life, the freedom and the peace that he brings into your life. So maybe next time I see you, we'll say cheers over a good glass of wine or a good glass of champagne, and I encourage you to have full faith in him, full faith.